GM changes Lightning adapters, iPhone 5 carrier news, iPhone 5 news, pre-order your iPhone 5 and iPods today, Ping dies, and Fox at it again. It's Friday, September 14th, 2012, and this is iWake. I'm Tim Chaten, and this is what's going on in the Apple world today. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of iWake. First up today are some notable changes found in the GM of iOS 6. This is the version that will most likely be released next Wednesday when everyone gets their hands on it. So first off, New York City now has flyover mode. The 3D button is replaced with a little building icon, and panorama mode is included and works with the iPhone 4S and soon to be iPhone 5. Next up is Verizon saying yes to FaceTime over its data network. You won't need some fancy data plan for FaceTime to work. It will just work as it is your data, and you can do with it as you wish. Sprint has said a similar thing. AT&T is the only carrier that appears to be messing around with customers. In other news, I forgot yesterday to mention the iPod Shuffle did get updated with new colors. These new colors match the iPod Nano, and the Shuffle is available today. This is a common occurrence for the Shuffle, as I believe it's happened at least once before, where they get color updates as they tend to have a slower release cycle. Now on to some Lightning adapter news. First up is Apple telling The Verge that both VGA and HDMI dongles will be available in the coming months. It is unclear if these video adapters will work on the Nano, but I think the iPhone 5 is a shoo-in for sure, and most likely the iPod Touch 5 as well. So with that said, the other bit of adapter news is a special adapter available to European customers alone. The Lightning to micro USB adapter is available for £15 on the UK Apple Store website. It looks to be a very small and practical adapter. No word yet on if the USA stores will get this. I would hope they do, but right now it does not appear they have them. Now on to some iPhone 5 news, and I gotta say there is a lot of iPhone 5 news. First up is a great piece by MG Siegler where he caps up my feelings and many others as far as the whole not being excited about the iPhone 5. He answers the question as to why many of us feel this isn't a huge upgrade, or why this isn't as big of an upgrade as many expected it would be. So here's an excerpt from this great piece on TechCrunch. That's the thing. When people say they're disappointed about the new iPhone, what they're really saying is that they're disappointed it doesn't look that much different from previous versions. But again, not only is that true, Apple went out of their way to make sure that was the case. Just listen to Johnny Ive in the very beginning of the video. When you think about the iPhone, your iPhone, it's probably the object that you use most in your life. It's the product that you have with you all of the time. With this unique relationship that people have with their iPhone, we take changing it very seriously. We don't just want to make a new phone. We want to make a much better phone. So Apple is not about and will not change things just for the sake of change. And while some may now be clamoring for this change, the paradox is that if Apple did make some big changes, many of the same people would complain about them. Apple's smart enough to know that is the case. Most people don't really want change. They just think that they do because that's the easiest way to perceive value. Visual newness. So yeah, Apple's focus remains on the turn, the process by which they make the ordinary extraordinary. But even with a masterful prestige, it's hard to convey that commitment. That is until you walk into an Apple store and pick up the product. So yeah, there you go. That was just a little bit of this. It's not too long of a piece, but from this piece where he goes into prestige and magic and things like that. I encourage you to read the full article. It's linked to in the show notes over at iWakePodcast.com. And also, if you were a bit disappointed, I'd encourage you to go to an Apple store and picking it up in your hand, as I think your initial impressions were a bit off, as were mine. Another iPhone 5 news is the question of, can I buy an unlocked iPhone here in the States? The answer is yes, but not right away. Apple has said it will be available in the coming weeks, but it won't be available at launch. Last year, the iPhone 4S was available unlocked in November, about a month after it was released here in the United States. So that timetable remains, we'll be looking at an October launch for the unlocked version of the iPhone 5. Prices start and remain at the same $649 if you want the unlocked version. Next up in iPhone 5 news is the newly found fact that both Sprint and Verizon will not support both voice and data at the same time over LTE. According to Apple, it is not yet possible to do simultaneous voice and data on networks that use both CDMA for voice and LTE for data in a single radio design. For Apple to make this happen, it would need a third antenna. Leaving that third antenna out allows Apple to simplify its manufacturing process of the iPhone for multiple carriers. Plus, in the next 2 years, the 4G LTE network is supposed to evolve to support voice calls, making that antenna a waste. As you know, Apple is not really a fan of waste, so that's probably not why it's not there. Speaking of LTE iPhones, it is now known that the Apple iPhone 5 has 3 different model numbers. Model A1428, Model A1429, and another model of A1429, one's GSM, one's CDMA. The A1428 GSM model facilitates LTE for the AT&T iPhone in the United States and Canada's iPhones and Rogers, Bell, and Telus on the 700 megahertz spectrum and AWS bands. The CDMA version of the A1429 covers the United States, Verizon and Sprint, Japan, KDDI, and it uses bands 1, 3, 5, 13, and 25. Finally, the GSM version of the A1429 spans Europe, including Germany and United Kingdom, and Asia, which includes Hong Kong, Singapore, Korea, Japan, and Australia, using bands 1, 3, and 5. So, yeah, 3 different models, and this should help you realize what can and can't be done as far as traveling abroad and expecting to use LTE on those trips. So if you're getting the AT&T model, you can use it in Canada, but not in Europe as far as LTE is concerned. And if you get the Verizon one, you'll be able to travel to Japan, but not to Europe. It seems that Europe phones are rather special and have their own set of spectrum. Another carrier news is AT&T verifying that your so-called unlimited data plan will be supported on the iPhone 5. They're not going to force you off of it. For once, the carrier did something good here. Instead of having that 3 GB cap you have on the 3G iPhone, you now get throttled after 5 GB. That's when the throttling starts. So they give you 2 extra gigabytes, so 5 GB, which has a value of around $50 if you're going to buy it outright. So you're now in a point where you're actually saving money by having this unlimited data plan. This gives you incentive to actually keep it by upping this limit. So your limited unlimited data plan is slightly less limiting. No FaceTime for you though, since AT&T is such an awesome company. Next up is some more info about that HD calling found in the iPhone 5. According to MacRumors, there are 3 ways to do high quality or wideband voice calls. One is to use a new codec called AMR-WB over a 3G GSM UMTS network. That's what some European carriers are doing, and that's what's in the iPhone. This is relatively easy to implement on the phone side, provided that the network supports it. In the US, only AT&T and T-Mobile will be eligible to do this, and they won't because they're focused on LTE. This report goes on to discuss the other 2 mechanisms for providing HD voice support, which include the CDMA-related codec being used by Sprint and voice over LTE technology being pursued by both AT&T and Verizon. But the iPhone 5 doesn't support those mechanisms. So basically what this means to you, the iPhone 5 purchaser, is that you'll have extremely limited HD voice experiences in the US for at least a few years. It'll be restricted to calls between limited sets of phones, probably on the same carrier, and won't be on the iPhone 5. And that's that. By the time we actually get HD voice here in the States, I'd imagine we'd be doing some sort of HD or some FaceTime with just audio, like an audio time type thing. Talk time, perhaps. Who knows? But that's just one thought. In other carrier news is word that the little carriers will be getting the iPhone 5. So far, Cricket, C Spire, Appalachian Wireless, Bluegrass Cellular, Cellcom, and GCI have announced a September 28th availability of the iPhone 5. Still no T-Mobile love, but it is going to these smaller carriers, so that's rather cool news. Last up in iPhone 5 news is the fact that you can now pre-order the iPhone 5 as well as these new iPods. Pre-orders started at 9 p.m. Hawaiian time Thursday evening, which is nice for us, which is midnight on the West Coast and 3 a.m. on the East Coast. If you missed the memo, I'm hopeful you didn't miss your opportunity to get it on day one, as sometimes the day one shipments go out fairly soon. But if you're into pre-ordering, go out and pre-order. Now let's move on to some news regarding Apple's web services. First up is an update to iCloud.com. The new update adds reminders and notes applications to the web service. Also of note is that Mail includes VIP, and Find My iPhone had a makeover. Head on over to iCloud.com to check it out. In other services is Ping, and this is rather sad news. A message on the service says that it will no longer be available as of September 30th. New members are no longer allowed to sign up, and I'd expect iTunes 11 will not have this at all. Tim Cook spoke of Ping just a few months ago, saying, "We tried Ping, and the customer voted and said, this isn't something I want to put a lot of energy into. Some customers love it, but there's not a huge number that do. So will we kill it? I don't know. I'll look at it." I was a fan of Ping, although I didn't use it much, and that's probably one reason why they killed it. It was fun to load up every once in a while to see what people were buying, but yeah, not a huge success, and Apple will be killing it fairly soon. Closing out the show today is some entertainment-related news. First up is Fox being a bad boy again. According to a Mac Rumors forum member on a recent post, it looks like Fox networks, including FX, are not going to offer new episodes on iTunes. Apple has quietly removed direct links from the main page of the iTunes TV show page. The pull-down menu page still lists both Fox and FX with the older episodes available, but new shows are nowhere to be found. Earlier today, Kurt Sutter, creator of Sons of Anarchy on FX, had a blog post explaining that Apple and Fox are arguing over money, but that post has been deleted. So Fox is a huge company. It seems like they have 20,000 heads. They do right by releasing Prometheus weeks early and at a lower cost, but now they're pulling shows like The New Girl and other new Fox shows out of iTunes because their $50 a season pass pricing isn't enough. TV shows are rather pricey in iTunes, and they are making their fair share. I'm getting rather tired of Fox doing stuff like this. The fall TV season is upon us, and if they don't put these in iTunes, I guarantee that these shows will be amongst the highest pirated shows of the season, because if you can't buy them, people will steal them. That's a fact. And this is just rather ridiculous. Fox and Apple kiss and make up. This is getting annoying. Fox is becoming a rather irritating company, almost as much as AT&T is. Last up today is a rather remarkable discovery. According to The Verge, researchers at the UK's National Media Museum have unearthed the world's first color-moving pictures, dating back to 1902. As the BBC reports, the footage was found and shot by Edward Raymond Turner as part of a test reel that includes images of marching soldiers, birds, and Turner's own children. The film had been gathering dust in a tin for more than a century before being discovered by Michael Harvey, curator of the cinematography at the National Media Museum. This is rather awesome. Check out The Verge's story for more details. Before closing out the show today, I just want to remind everyone that iWake Again is airing this weekend. iWake Again is for those that really appreciate what I do and want to financially fund this project that I do, this daily podcast. This week I will be plan to talk to Jerome Kohler about the recent Apple event. The show is $10 a month, and with that subscription, you get access to the scripts that I read from, as well as this weekend podcast called iWake Again. It's about a 30-minute show, which is both monologues and interviews. It provides you a way to wake up to iWake on Saturday or Sunday, and it's just another perk that you guys get for supporting me financially. So if you'd like more information about this, go over to iwakepodcast.com/again. So iwakepodcast.com/again. Once again, if you'd like to join the iWake Again community, it's iwakepodcast.com/again. That's what's going on in the Apple world today, and that will do this week for some of us, but not everyone. If you're an iWake Again subscriber, tomorrow you'll have another episode, or Sunday, I'm not sure which yet. Anyways, have a great weekend, and I will talk to everyone on Monday. So, aloha, and have a good weekend.